Hey, this is Dayspring with Power of X-Men.
This is Sailor Tortilla.
This is Miracle from Magical Melody.
This is Brooke with the Sailor Moon Fan Network, and you're tuned into Double Moonlight Justice
with Z and Grayson.
Everything has since come and passed, and I've yet to start looking at like the quote-unquote spoilers outside of Sailor V. I know Sailor V is a thing. I've seen snippets of her costume. I've seen little snippets. I don't know how she comes in. I don't know if she sings any songs, but like I know she's in the show, and that made me just fold like a chair. Like, oh, they pulled out the big guns for this. Oh, got it.
Ooh, I know it looks like a lot.
Oh Lord. Oh. Yeah, I got this. Okay. Had to pull a little PGSM moment right there. I think I'm ready.
Okay.
So I just start whenever?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. This is a little liberating.
Yeah. If you want to do a countdown, you can do that and then get started. Whatever's best for you.
Okay. How do I count? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Moonlight justice.
Hi Sailor Guardians! You are tuned into Double Moonlight Justice. Moonlight Justice is a fan podcast dedicated to the hit anime manga franchise Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. We are your Sailor hosts. I am Z.
And I'm Grayson.
On Moonlight Justice, we adhere to the power of 3. The power of 3 are principles we abide by as your Sailor hosts. Number 1. Practice controversy with civility. We will respectfully discuss our thoughts and opinions without a feeling of judgment. Number 2. Things can always be discussed constructively and positively. And number 3. We will not engage in racism, xenophobia, phobias, or triggers. However, these topics might be addressed in correlation with our discussions.
It's so different hearing you say the intro.
So it's a little jarring, isn't it? Am I doing a good job? Am I giving?
You're doing great. You're doing great. I love it.
Fantastic. Our next few episodes of Moonlight Justice will be dedicated to the North American Sailor Moon The Super Live Tour! Yay! I love Mew, y'all. I love Sailor Moon so much, so I'm very giddy about all of this. So, according to the Sailor Moon Fan Network, in March 2025, Sailor Moon The Super Live started its 18-city tour in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The tour expanded to 21 cities before concluding in April 2025 in New York City. Sailor Moon The Super Live was a Japanese live titles that ran for 95 minutes without intermission. The show performed an abbreviated version of the Dark Kingdom arc. Sailor Moon The Super Live featured new songs for its North American tour and included Starry Heavens and You're My Universe from the Kaguya Hime no Koibito Mew, Princess Kaguya's Beloved, that was exclusive to Japan. The Super Live cast consists of Riko Tanaka, Kanon Maekawa, Rei Kobayashi, Mura, Marin Makino, who played the Sailor Guardian team. The Sailor Guardian cast was the core team in Kaguya Hime no Koibito and Sailor Mew veteran Riona Tatebichi as Tuxedo Mask Tuxedo Kamen-sama. I had to do that.
Yes.
Riona is known for her roles in the Sailor Mew Nelke revival as Crimson Rubeus, which is from Petit Estrangere, Hawkeye from Amour Eternal, and Sailor Starmaker within Le Mouvement Fanal. Riona was in the original cast of Sailor Moon The Super Live in Japan. We are excited about this series because this is the first instance of a full Sailor Moon stage show in America, and it allows us to connect with you, our Sailor Guardians, to talk about this experience. We have some great guests, just like you, lined up to talk about Sailor Moon the Super Live. If you want to speak with me and G, or submit pre-recorded answers to some questions from Moonlight Justice, please email us at moonlightjusticepodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram. So before we jump into today's talking points, as always, G, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It feels so good to be back because it has been a minute since we've done an episode. So it feels so good to be home on the Moonlight Justice podcast.
It feels good to be home. Oh, my heart.
How are you feeling?
I feel good, and I feel the exact same way. Like, it really has been a hot minute since we've been able to come together and do this, and it feels like slipping on a nice pair of comfortable slippers and getting situated. Like, it really does feel like home in a way.
Right, and it has not been from a lack of trying. I recently moved. I'm staying with my brother for a short while I save up to buy a home.
Okay.
And we were supposed to get together in May, but Mother's Day, the day we were supposed to record, was Mother's Day.
Yep.
And MomoCon was after that, so I took some liberty and decided not to press Z to record because I know she was busy getting ready for MomoCon.
A lot was happening those 2 days. But it got done. Everything happened, and here we are now.
Right.
So I'll say I'm feeling Gucci, like I mentioned. But what have you been up to lately? You kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, so I moved. It was kind of like an impromptu thing. My brother asked me to move in with him a while ago, and I was kind of like on the fence about it, but I was like, you know what, this is a great financial opportunity, especially in this economy, to save some money and to help my brother. So it was quite the move.
I can imagine.
But I'm all settled.
That's good.
Everything is good. So I'm really happy. Other than that, I have been working on my manga, Le Chess Romantique. It's my own. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it an homage to Sailor Moon but it's definitely inspired by Sailor Moon. So it's a magical girl, magical boy story. There's a lot of chess related themes and motifs, and I've been drawing and developing the story, so I'm really excited about that. And I think that's it. Work has been good. No complaints there. Really don't have any complaints at all. Like I'm definitely very blessed.
Hey, we love to hear it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, we love to hear it.
And what have you been up to lately? Because I am ready for you to talk about it.
Dang, I guess let me backtrack a few weeks ago, because I did go to MomoCon this past May. I attended only Saturday and Sunday, but I debuted my PGSM Jupiter 2.0 Fuku. Had a lot of fun wearing that costume. And I did 2 panels. Not legit.
So legit. She had the Jewelry Star bracelet. She had she had her Sailor Tombow. It was just, I was so happy for you. I was like, see, she's official. We talked about this since the pandemic, and she's official.
We really did. And funny enough, there were people that actually specifically recognized me from PGSM, which made my heart so happy. Like, oh my gosh, people know this show. Like, a lot of fangirl moments happened that weekend. But I also...
So you did the panels.
I did.
So
I did
panels.
2 panels.
Can you tell me what those 2 panels are about?
Oh my gosh, I can. So the first one was Memorable Melodies, the music of Sailor Moon. It's one that I have done before and actually kind of debuted at MomoCon, ironically. But basically, I talk about the music of Sailor Moon, I go into details that you may or may not know about songs that you may or may not know, ranging from...
Can you share a couple with us?
I can try. I talk about Moonlight Densetsu, for example, or Moonlight Legend. I talk about the Japanese lyricist, the composer, the fact that the melody itself is taken from Sayonara wa Dance no Ato ni, which is a song that is sung by a woman whose name I cannot remember at the moment, but she is known for singing that original melody that was composed into Moonlight Densetsu. It was initially sang by Dolly, which was a idol group that formed in May of 1992. They disbanded immediately after that song, but hey, hits are hits.
Wonders.
Truly, and I mean it's transcended, thus making it a memorable melody. But I talk about that. I talk about some other 90s songs. I talk about how music can make an impact, no matter if you listen to like episode Japanese sub or if you watch the English dub, just how music can be influential no matter how you view it. I go into like other forms of Sailor Moon media and their music, like PGSM, talking about orchestration.
I'm
like
raising my hand.
You're raising your hand.
Can I contribute?
You totally can.
A memory. What was it?
A memorable melody.
Yes,
yes.
Memorable melody. So speaking of Moonlight Densetsu, after Dolly disbanded, Moonlight Densetsu was recorded by Moonlips, who would go on to become the original Sarah Miyu cast.
Yes, you're correct. Pete Chips has also done a cover, and Pete Chips is the seiyuu of all the inner senshi within the 90s subs, so like Kotono.
I knew you were going to say that. I almost called Moonlips Pete Chips. I was like, no, Pete Chips is the acting cast, and Moonlips is the Miyu cast.
Yep. Same thing, different shapes, but that's so right. And it's really cool how they end up going to do Sailor Mew related stuff, which I do talk about Sailor Mew within that panel as well. It's at the very end, but I talk about some of the songs, composition, like Akiko Kosaka. I bring up her name a good bit, as well as Naoko's name, in terms of like her writing lyrics. Like, it's a fun, good time. Everybody really enjoyed it. I got a lot of positive feedback, and it was just a really good morning presenting that panel. And then later in the afternoon, I did self-care at Toru Honda for any Fruits Basket fans out there, and it's an in-character panel where I talked about, or rather Toru talked about, the different ways that you can practice self-care. So she goes into the different pillars of self-care that there are, and alongside showing examples from the show itself, she'll give you tips and tricks basically as to how you can implement those into your daily life. That panel went exceedingly well, beyond my own expectations. I was very overwhelmed with the positive feedback. Like, I cried and teared up a good bit hearing everything. Which some of it, hey, at least when I cried the first time, it was in character.
Crying.
Because there's a scene that I show that always. There's a scene. That's the whole thing. There's a scene that I show that always gets me in my feels, so of course I had to boo-hoo about it. And since I was Toru, it was in character, I was genuinely surprised by all the positive feedback and like people saying this was their favorite panel the whole weekend, like getting messages after the fact about how like they're gonna keep these tips with them and keep their panel experience like for the rest of time. Like, I mean, crying in the club all Sunday. Like, everybody was so kind and so sweet. Just, but that was my MomoCon experience. I had a good time. I got to meet so many wonderful people. Paneling was really, really fun. And I'm intrigued to see what next year may have in store, possibly. But I've been good with MomoCon stuff. I'm also shifting into my next and last project for this year that might go into next year. I'm working on the Star Princess dress. It is a costume that is seen within Phantom of the Opera for any musical enthusiasts out there. And I'm modeling it after the first Black actress to play Christine on Broadway when it comes to like how I plan to do the wig, and even as far as like the color schemes of her particular dress. So it's gonna be very intensive, very, very intensive. I've been doing a lot of research, still doing research and getting a lot of reference images, but I am really excited and I think it'll be a really fun project. But outside of costuming, thank you. I'm really hyped for it. But outside of costuming, my internship, I'm still doing that. In fact, I extended the time that I'll be there for the most part, but it's been going good. I've been designing stuff, I've been adding to my portfolio, and I've just kind of been taking things day before the little things and grateful for the things to come, all that fun stuff. So just chilling. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to for the most part.
Busy. I love it.
Gotta keep occupied.
Yeah, I was really excited about the Jupiter cosplay. So you could talk about the cosplay.
I shall. And I mean, I still have little things for that costume. Like the Thunder Spear it's going to happen. It didn't happen this go around for MomoCon, but it's going to happen. There are many things being planned and possibly recorded for that costume. So you haven't seen the last of it just yet.
No. Yeah, and I'm very excited because I saw Spring Thunder and the Flower Hurricane TikTok.
Yes.
So I was like, ooh, yes.
Those were so fun to film, but thinking of how to do it all on the spot was a process. But oh my gosh, they were so fun to film. I have another little video. I won't say what it is, but I do have another little video, or 2, or 3. We'll see. But yes, oh my gosh, it really cool dream come true moment wearing Jupiter 2.0, because like PGSM is how I got into Sailor Moon. She's one of my favorite characters. Around that time, like 10 years ago, would have been when I was really getting into Sailor Moon, so it just felt like a, oh, we're finally here moment. Oh.
Right. Full circle.
Full circle. And I didn't cry! So yay! So I had a feeling I didn't cry. At least, not then. Anyways, so with all that being said... It was really good
watching your progress with Jupiter too, because you made the chest protector and everything.
That was a process too. Like, oh my goodness. Between the chest armor, hemming the skirt, like I really wanted to try and improve on previous things I had done with the first fubu, whether it was how I sewed my leotard or how I even tacked the pleats down. Like I really wanted to try and improve upon the first time I made that costume, and I want to say that I have. Like I'm really proud of the strides that have been made. And it's like I say it a lot, but like it's really the little things I feel that can add up and be like, ah.
Right. Ah. Well, the good thing about it is that you can only get better, you know?
Right. Like you can learn from things that you've done before and be like, oh, well, I did it this way before. I'm gonna try it a little bit differently and see how this turns out. And it can be something that carries with you. Because I know that's how it is with my pleating specifically. Pleating and hemming. Just trying out different things and maybe doing math a little bit differently here or making sure it lays down here, and it adds up and it can make something really cool.
Yeah, it came together nicely with all the cosplays. Like you've been really good at processing and documenting, you know, what you're doing and always trying to improve.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I really genuinely do love documenting, and processing it all. Part of it's just so if I forget something, I can go back and reference. But also, like, I'm so serious. I'll go back and look through my highlights and be like, oh, how did I pleat this? Or how did I figure out the math for this part? It's really helpful. But also in the chances of, like, if somebody else wants to do something, or maybe there's a technique that I do that I lay out in my process, and I can send that as a reference for them, because I try to make things as accessible as possible when it comes to what I do.
Yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with a reference, that's for sure, because my story is based in France, so there's a lot of French words that I use. And I'm constantly going back and to my reference guide, like, how do I say this? And getting the pronunciation correctly. So I can't even imagine what it's like with sewing. Like,
I'd say they're on par, honestly. Because, I mean, having to go back to a language and just making sure that you're pronouncing things correctly and making sure, like, the diction is right. Like, I imagine it's very tedious.
It can be, especially when it's not your native language or you're not fluent in it. But it's like, I can't imagine like starting sewing and doing cosplay. Like, I feel like I tried to learn how to sew, and it definitely takes consistency.
Yeah.
To be able to like keep that skill set fresh. My friend does fashion and he sews, and it's like second nature to him. He's just like, very good at it. But it's like, to me, it's like he went to school for that. And he does, and he teaches fashion to kids. So it's like, it's constant, so it's like, it's constant, consistent, use of the skill set. So for me, it's like, I would like have to be like you, where it's like, I literally have to plan out what I'm going to do, so that way I can stay consistent with the skill set, because it's like, you can't not do it for like 6 months to a year and be like, I'm just gonna pick up where I left off. Like,
I guess it's really like dusting off the hands, dusting off the shoulders, and even if it means getting reacquainted with techniques that you've done before, just to make sure you got them smooth, for lack of a better word. But it's a process, just like most things. I guess speaking of processes, thinking of staging and such, so G, you were able to attend the Super Live in April, specifically in Chicago. So, what was that experience like?
It was magical. It was just so I remember when Sailor Moon the Super Live got announced, and when I say everybody was geeked, everybody was geeked. So I knew that all the hardcore Sailor Moon fans were going to jump on this, and I call it this. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. True. We don't know if it's going to happen again, when it's going to happen again, or what's going to be like the next time around, if there is a next time. So I know that because of how rare it is for us to get Sailor Moon content in America, it was like, okay, this is you either go or you don't. And so they announced the initial 18 cities. Shout out to Brooke and the Sailor Moon Fan Network, Sailor Bradzilla, for their extensive guide, because I definitely leaned on them for all the information. So when they announced the initial 18 cities, I live in Las Vegas, so I immediately looked for Los Angeles. Los Angeles was not listed.
No.
And so I had two choices. I had one. So my initial choice was the Seattle show. I was going to go see Miracle and Brittany because they were going to the show, as well as Cutie Miss Mooney.
Yes.
So they were all going to the Seattle show. So I was like, oh, I'll go to Seattle. So it was like around March. But that's also the birthday weekend of my brother Marcus. So my brother Marcus is mentally disabled, and I'm his legal guardian. So I didn't feel right not being home for his birthday. So I was telling my friend Way that I wanted to go to Seattle, but I didn't. But because the timing wasn't right. So Ray mentioned. He was like, let's go to Chicago because he works out of Chicago.
Oh.
So he was like, I have to go there. I have to go there for work anyway. So let's just go to Chicago. And I had never been to Chicago. So I was like, great. So I bought my Chicago ticket. I bought our Chicago tickets.
Great.
And then they announced the Los Angeles show.
The way I would have been side-eyeing so hard. Like, what do you mean?
I was like, what do you mean you announcing the LA shows? Like literally, like the day after I bought my Chicago tickets, they announced the LA show, and I was like, I'm not changing it. I'm going to go to Chicago.
I'm going to Chicago. So you're going to announce some stuff the day after.
So, speaking of Seattle, Miracle and Brittany have agreed to join us one day to talk about Sailor Moon the Super Live. See if we can get Cutie Miss Mooney to join us too, because she saw them while she was out there. So I think it'd be great to have them on to talk about Super Live. So like I said, we are I think this is a great opportunity for us to connect with our mutuals as well as Sailor Guardians who follow us on Instagram, because this is a shared experience. It was a new experience for everybody. We all shared it together. So I think like Z mentioned, if you want to join us for a show, or if you want to just submit your pre-recorded answers to our talking points, we'll play them at the beginning of the episode with our intro and then get into the episode itself. So but the experience was magical. It was just so surreal, like the flight there, getting to the hotel, and we stayed downtown Chicago. It's the first time I've been to Chicago. It was amazing. Had deep dish pizza, but we literally were we were a 15-minute walk from the theater.
Okay.
And so it was just, we're walking there and it's cold. It was like 47 degrees, so it was cold.
Ooh, that is chilly.
Yeah, so it's like me and Wei wore tuxedo mask themed outfits. I had.
Oh, I was gonna ask that. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like go in like a costume, because some people went in cosplay.
Yes, so I wore the tuxedo mask button up from Box Lunch. I had a leather jacket and I had my tuxedo mask, Sailor Moon backpack, mini backpack. Wei, he wore a white button-up, black pants, and he found a cape. and he had like a little red rose brooch that he wore with it. And I had to give Wei a shout out because he knows I'm an introvert, and so he was like, "Let's take a picture." And I was like, "No, that's okay. We don't need to take pictures." He was like, "This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You have to take pictures.
You have to document it."
Right. So it was the walk there. We were in line. So many Sailor Moon cosplays. I saw Civilian Pluto. I saw Saturn, and I didn't meet these individuals, but later after I got home, Jay went to Chicago show, and Jay, and shout out to Jay, because Jay gave us access to the new Nogi Miu.
Yes.
So I didn't know he was there. And there was another there's a TikToker there who's known for his royal family, British royal family TikToks. Like he follows like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry and stuff like that. So I didn't even know he was a Sailor Moon fan. So he was like, "Oh yeah, I was there," and I was like, "What? That's so crazy!" I was like, "I see your TikToks all the time." So it was just like, it's really cool to see people there that are like people that went to the show and you wouldn't have no idea that they're a Sailor Moon fan.
Right.
So many cool cosplays, like I was saying. The theater was amazing. Merch line was packed.
Oh, I can imagine. Like hearing how some people had to line up like 2 hours early or something like that.
Yeah, luckily it wasn't that bad in Chicago, but I did immediately get in line. I got the hoodie. I did not get, so I have to thank Brooke Ochiba Wolf from Sailor Moon Fan Network, because she did a video telling us what to expect, what to look for, what to buy.
That's
So
wonderful.
luckily I followed her video. So I was like, let's go get the merch line. Got the merch line immediately. I didn't get the glow stick. I didn't want the glow stick. I just got the hoodie. And I got my friend Gage a hoodie because he went to Seattle show too. So he has agreed to join us for a podcast as well. He did not go into the merch line because it was, like you were saying, Z, like wrapped around the building 2 hours, and he just didn't have the time. So I got my hoodie. I got him a hoodie, and it was like we went into the theater, and the theater was beautiful. The architecture was amazing. And it was.
It's like you're just sitting in the moment, recalling it all.
Yeah, it was like, so we had balcony seats. So our balcony was like right above the front row seats. So we had a really good view of the stage. I made sure we got good seats. I didn't get front row because I ain't got, shout out to the people that got the front row because it was worth a pretty penny to get those seats. But I did make sure we got balcony, like first row balcony, so it was really good. Seeing the stage, it made me think of Yuzi because it looked just like the Sarah Miyu stage. The stairs, the projection, like it was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what Z is talking about when she says she loves Sarah Miyu, because it was just like sitting there. The show was sold out. Over 3,000 people were at this show. And I was really excited when they sang You're My Universe.
I would have cried immediately. The moment the first notes played, it would have been done.
I got misty. Yeah, I got misty. I was trying to hold it together because it was just like, it was an experience that you could have never told me. You could never told teenage me that I would go to a live Sailor Moon show. There's no way you could even convince me. So it was very emotional seeing it. Let's be clear. When I walked in, I was not excited about the Super Live, and I'll tell you why.
I love that. I can't wait to hear.
Because I assumed that it was going to be like the Japanese show. I was thinking like Shining Moon Tokyo. Where it was going to be just like songs with some brief dialogue, but nothing
like
too
really
comprehensive. Yeah, because I was like, if they're keeping it in line with how those shows are, which are mainly geared towards tourists, it wasn't going to be like story or dialogue heavy. It was just going to be like a little show with some songs and stuff like that, or some callback songs and stuff like that. Yeah. So I didn't know what to expect. So imagine my surprise when it starts and the opening. So the opening was amazing because they featured a lot of manga panels from the manga. So like a lot of the Naoki Takeuchi art and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see that. So like it's opening like this, I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be one of those abridged, song and dance shows. And I'm like, so very, very surprised when they opened up with with Usagi waking up and explaining that she is secretly Sailor Moon and stuff like that. So I was like, oh snap. This is a show. Like this is a story.
They're gonna have a beginning, middle, and an end. I thought this was just like a musical chronicle moment where they're just doing some songs, maybe like a little dialogue here and there. But
right. So there's full dialogue, full story. Like you said earlier, Z, it was a 95-minute show, Japanese language with English subtitles. So on the screen, it was showing what they were saying in Japanese. So it was being translated onto the screen, so you knew what's going on.
It's wonderful. Would you say that it was legible to read?
Yes, very legible. And it wasn't distracting. So I was still able to like watch the show without like, oh, I had to read the whole time. Like I didn't feel that way at all.
That's good.
So I was like, oh, I'd like sat up in my seat. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. So my immediate thought was, it's the Sailor Guardian Tuxedo Mask and Queen Beryl with some dancers. So I'm like, how are they going to do this? There's no Shino. So I was like, how is this story going to go? So that's kind of like what made me sit up, because I was like, okay, I want to see how they're going to do this show, and it was amazing.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it was.
Yeah, even though it wasn't a full
That
cast,
sounds wonderful.
it was a very full, comprehensive story. Like it never felt like, oh, it's missing something. Like, and you know I love Riona.
Yeah.
I really do. I fell in love with Riona when she appeared as Rubius in the Nail Cave. Petite Étrangère. So for me, it was just like, oh my God, Riona's like, she's like so close, but yet so far away.
And she reaching out a hand like, oh, we're in the same vicinity but at the same time.
Right. So it was really cool seeing Riona. It was very cool seeing the cast from Kaguya Hime no Kobito. So it was really cool seeing Rico as Sailor Moon. Phenomenal. Completely original song. Starry Heavens was a song. You're My Universe was a song. But it had original music. So I was like looking forward to the Sailor Guardian song from the original Super Live. They didn't do that.
Yeah, like Watan's like, oh, they're just gonna do same
Yes.
stuff. I just they brought a whole new entourage of songs for this. Like,
a whole new entourage of songs, and I love the Sailor Guardian song. And they did the attack. So I love Kaguya Hime, but what I told Z when I watched for the first time, like Sailor Moon didn't attack and the Outers didn't attack, but the Inners didn't do anything. So I was like, what is going on?
what is happening?
So when they did the Sailor Guardian song in this Super Live, they incorporated their attack. So I was super geeked for that. I was getting goosebumps and everything.
Oh, I love that.
Queen Beryl was amazing. Like, she's like my second favorite Beryl in comparison to the Nelke Revival Beryl from Le Reconquista. So she was amazing. She did some like jazzy, upbeat song. Like, she was phenomenal. And Gage told me, he was like, I'm telling you right now, Queen Beryl ate.
She ate down.
What's 7 plus 1? 8. 5 plus 3? 8. 9 minus 1? 8.
8.
And I loved Sailor Venus in this show. So I was a little bit. So I have to admit, Sailor Venus was not my favorite in Kaguya Hime. She was a little bit too upbeat for me. But she was, and so I was like, oh, I don't know about this actress, because she was like really like super energetic as Sailor Venus and Kaguya Hime.
Yeah.
But she was giving Sailor Venus from Amor Eternal and Le Mouvement Finale for the Super Live. So she really stepped into that leadership role. She shined.
I love that.
So it was like really cool. So a lot of those manga Sailor Venus moments that we got from Dark Kingdom arc are in this show. And it was
the way my mouth is agape right now.
And it was amazing. and she appeared as Sailor V.
Which is just the icing on the cake. The fact that they put Sailor V in this show. Like,
I was not expecting that. And it's literally like it was quick, but it was impactful for a Sailor V appearance. So when Usagi's mom is reading the newspaper is when they do the Sailor V scene. So they're enacting her taking out the criminal as Sailor V. So they did some really good moments. Riona Tatamichi was great as Tuxedo Mask, as always. They even had a cool when Destiny Calls type moment that I think you'll love, Z. So there was a duet. There was definitely a duet between the two of them. Oh, and there was even a double moonlight romance moment.
Oh my gosh.
Between Usagi and Mamoru. Yes, it was. So yes, you were on my mind the entire time. I was like, Z would love this. Z would love that. Z would love this. This is just like double moonlight romance, just like Z would like.
Oh my goodness. And also, wow, I love being synonymous with Sailor Mew. I mean, period. I love that. Truly. And I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Like,
yes, I loved it. It just 95 minutes went by so fast.
Like you sit down and you gotta get right back up.
Right. And that's the thing is that the one thing I do like about this show is that it gave no spoilers at all. So that's why I was a little bit apprehensive about going, because the only clips that you see are at the end of the show, because you can't record or take pictures at all during the run. So a lot of clips that people were posting were them singing Moonlight Densetsu and Lost Soldier and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I don't, this is just going to be a song and dance where they sing like the top hits from the Sailor Moon show.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it was the end of the show, because I didn't know the difference. So I'm like, when they were saying like, please put away your phone, please don't record or take pictures or video during the show, I was like, wait a minute, how are these people getting all these clips on TikTok and social media if you're not allowed to record? And then I was like, oh, because at the end of the show they're like, take out your phones, get your glow sticks, it's time for the encore. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what Z was talking about at the end of the show. So for the times that we have talked about Sarah Miyu on Moonlight Justice, whenever I watched a recorded version of the show, I don't watch the encores.
Oh my gosh, that'd be my favorite part.
So
I get excited immediately, like I'm in the audience.
So for me, it's like when the show is over, like the only time I would like watch the encore or watch the ending, like when they're bowing and introducing each other and stuff like that, is because there's usually like an interview after. That's what I stick around for. So like a Petit Étranger, it's usually like the final show, so all the cast comes out and they talked about it. That's one of the reasons why I love Sailor Pluto, because she was so geeked to be in Sarah Miyu, and she cried. She cries all the time, but she cried.
She had me crying first time I saw it. Like, oh my gosh,
so I knew there wasn't going to be So I knew there wasn't going to be like an interview time, because it was like the middle of their run. But yeah, I was like, I never watched the encores because they usually just show the songs from the shows or whatever, or they're the staple songs like Moonlight Densetsu, Lost Soldier, and stuff like that. But because this is a once in a lifetime experience, I of course stayed for the encore show, and I was like, now I see why Z likes the encores, because it was phenomenal.
So fun. Yeah, it's just a big, like, you're hyping with other people that like the same thing that you like, and you're hearing them perform these songs that you've heard all these years, and it feels like it's brand new.
Right. That's what it was. It felt brand new. And I guess like when you're in the audience and you're feeling the energy from the crowd and you're singing along, it was just phenomenal. And it was just like seeing the costumes up close and stuff like that. Like it was just magical. Like I can't think of another word other than magical. It was just like,
I think that's
my 40 years on this earth, and I have watched the original Sailor Moon anime, I've read the manga, I've seen PGSM, I've seen Sailor Moon Crystal Revival. We saw the movement finale in theaters. And we got to see the Sailor Moon Super Live here in America. Like it's just been like, it's just an experience that I never thought I would have with this fandom. So it's just like, that magical sums up
just
the entirety, the culmination of everything. And I'm like, what's gonna happen next?
Right. Like what's gonna happen now? Because
right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you shared that. I felt like I was sitting beside it as you were explaining everything. Because mind you, I haven't seen the Super Live. I wasn't able to go see it because none of the shows were remotely within the South. And I couldn't really afford to go get on a plane to go see it. So I was living through so many people through the videos and such. So getting to hear your experience, that it was a really good experience on top of that, is so happy. It makes my heart so happy that you got to experience Mew and you got to see the encore and you got to see all the costumes and stuff. Like it's magical really is a good word to describe that.
Yeah. So one of our future guests, Jasmine, went to the New York show, the final New York shows. She went twice, and I knew Z wasn't able to go. So we made sure we got her some Super Live merch.
Which Meppy, and I stare at it every single day. Like, oh my goodness. I try not to cry about it because then G will be like, no crying, and that's a whole other thing. But I felt really special receiving all of that. Like, it really felt like I had a little piece of the Super Live with me.
Yeah, that was like the goal. I was like, I know Z wasn't able to go. And so when Jasmine told me she was going to New York, I was like, hey, can you get Z a shirt and a Sailor Jupiter photo card? So she can have a piece of the magic. Right. She needs a piece of the magic.
The magic is felt. And I'm so happy I have a piece of the magic. Like it, I get so excited and jittered thinking about it all. But you lightly touched on this next question, which is, what was the first Mew you had ever seen, or if the Super Live was your first one? Super Live was not your first Mew, at least in terms of in person.
Yeah, the Super Live was not my first Mew, but it was my first in person Mew.
Yeah.
And I think that's the closest we, at this point in time, will ever get to a full stage play of Sailor Moon musicals. The first Mew I ever watched, so I mean that answer can be varied, so I'm gonna break it down just a little bit. So So back in 1998, 99, in the rise of Kazaa and Napster and LimeWire, it was very hard to get the recordings of the Sailor Moon anime, the musicals and stuff like that. So you can only get clips and little sound bites and stuff like that. So my first exposure to Sailor Moon, or Sarah Mew specifically, was the Sailor Starlights transforming for the first time in Ian Densetsu.
Ooh!
So it was very cool because it was just they were standing there in their school uniforms and they do their transformation phrases. The lights cut out, the suits rip away, there they are, Sailor Starlights, So it was just like, oh my gosh, this looks like it'd be really good to see. My second exposure will probably be Sailor Moon and Chibi Moon transforming into their super forms. And that was a pre-recorded visual for the Supers musical. So it's just like they're standing in their Sarah Miyu costumes, and they literally transform with ribbons. And so like it really set the expectation bar high for me, because I was like, this is what's going to be like on all the shows. It was very hard for me to get past the style of costumes and wigs, because I didn't really understand that for Sarah Miyu and for stage plays in general, you're dressing for the people in the back and all the way in the back, not necessarily people up front. So for me, it's like when I learned that little tidbit, I would squint so it'd be kind of blurry, and I'm like, okay, I can see why they did it that way. Yeah. I wouldn't get into Sarah Miyu until 2019. And that would have been 2019? No. Before that, when the Nelke revival started.
Okay, that would be like 2014-ish.
Yes, so 2014 into 2019. So I got into the Nelke revival. Shout out to Miss Dream, who's still under construction. I hope they come back.
I do too.
Miss Dream, Sea of Serenity were my sources to watch the Nelke revival, and it was an amazing experience. It was just really cool to see the musicals, this revival in particular, start off the way that they did. So I would say that La Reconquista is probably as close as the Super Live got, with a few exceptions. So that was one of the reasons why I liked Super Live 2, because it reminded me of La Reconquista, because I was like, okay, it didn't necessarily follow initially because it couldn't, not without a full cast. So it kind of like took some liberties in that way, but that's how I felt when I first watched it. Like it was just like the stairs, the little stages and stuff like that. So and then watching the Nelke revival evolve, Petite Étrangère took its own liberties, and before it kind of like really settled into like this manga-esque storytelling from Infinity of Un Nouveau Voyage, Amour Eternal, and Les Mouvements Finales, which were very heavily influenced by the manga storytelling. So that was one of the reasons why I loved the Nelke revival. Un Nouveau Voyage is definitely my favorite. It follows the Infinity arc, which is my favorite arc. And Le Mouvement Finale were my favorite musicals of the Nelke revival, which inspired me when the pandemic came to go back and watch the original Bandai run. Which gave me a deeper appreciation. And the Bandai run has some amazing music.
Oh my gosh, it does.
I had no idea, because you literally have to watch it, because if you don't watch it, you're gonna miss it.
You are.
So it's kind of like my little foray into the Miyu universe. Bandai was definitely amazing.
We love Bandai here. We love Nelke. And you touched on music a little bit. So speaking of that, do you have a favorite song from the Super Live?
So I'm gonna break it into two parts. So they, like I said, they did "You're My Universe," which is my favorite song from the Kaguya Hime musical. So I'm glad that they did that. So I was like really excited. I got excited for Starry Heavens for you. That's not necessarily my favorite, but I was like, I know Z would love Starry Heavens.
I would.
Yes, you would. Honestly, I love a good transformation and an attack sequence in a musical. So the Sailor Guardian song is definitely hands down my favorite. I wish we got a soundtrack out of it.
I hope we do. I'm still fingers crossing that like they drop a soundtrack with vocals.
We do. I hope someone broke the rules and recorded the entire show and gives us a soundtrack out of it. But the Sailor Guardian song was definitely my favorite segment out of the Super Live. They got to do their introductions, they got to do their attacks. So it was a great way for them to shine.
That's good.
So I love that. It was definitely giving me like Music of the Spheres or the
great.
Five Damsels of the White Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So I love those type of moments. And it was a full moment. Nobody didn't get missed out. Like Mercury got to sing, Venus got to sing. It was just like, yes, it's complete.
There's no cliffhangers.
Right. I love Queen Beryl's singing. Like I said, it was very like, it wasn't like that was the difference between this Beryl and Libra Conquista, because Libra Conquista was very operatic.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was like upbeat jazz.
Okay, so then would you say that this Beryl could be like the 2024 No Gimme Beryl kind of sort of?
Even more so, because even No Gimme Beryl was kind of like melancholy.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was like funny and effervescent and sexy, and her song gave me Viva Viva Dead Moon or Dead Moon Circus from Amazon type vibes.
Interesting. Okay.
So it was very like upbeat, like, you know, jazz. It was very like, you know, very different for this Beryl, but it fit her.
It's a fun take on her.
Yeah, it was very cool to see her. And of course, Riona Tatemichi was phenomenal as always.
As always. As always. So you touched on some moments, but do you have a favorite moment within this musical?
I have to
one
say,
that stood out?
There's several moments that stood out. So for one, it was the Sailor V appearing, because that was like, whoa. Was not expecting that at all.
That's different.
Yes, I liked. There's a Silver Millennium moment in the show too. Yes.
No.
And it was. I think it was like shadow play. So they didn't come in costume, but it was like mainly shadow play, but it was good storytelling. So I wasn't expecting that either. I think my favorite moment was most definitely I think this is one of the reasons like why Dark Kingdom is like such a powerful beginning story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And why it's a go-to theme for a lot of musicals.
Yeah.
And it was definitely the battle against Queen Metalia. So watching that play out was something else. Like, and it played out just like the manga. So it was just like, oh my gosh, like,
oh wow,
it was intense. It was intense.
So like verbatim from the manga, like how that battle initially happens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that is a first.
Yeah. So like, you know, like when Sailor Moon had to kill the possessed Tuxedo Mask, and then, you know, and so like Queen Natalia enveloping them, the Sailor Guardians giving their lives to wake her up, stuff like that. Like it was just like all of that played out beautifully on this stage. Like it wasn't a huge stage either, but it was just like it was very like it just drew you in, like you were like engrossed into all of it.
That's wonderful. And that's cool, like how, like the storytelling aspect of it all, and just how with a medium like this they're able to do it not just through the stage, but through screens, through shadow work. And with that being said, do you have a favorite element with this musical when it comes to like the sound or the stage design or the costuming, things like that?
The stage design, like I said, it definitely gave me Nell Cave vibes, especially La Conquista. So there's like, I think there's like two stairs on either side of the stage, and then there's a spiral staircase in the middle. The stage design kind of made me nervous because I was like, if it was me and I was like a dancer or performer on the stage, I wouldn't, because it's like the second stage is on this platform where the staircases are, but it's like if you misstep once, you would fall into that middle staircase.
Ooh.
So that had me kind of nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool seeing like the stage markings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There was like they used like some ribbons, so they used like light up ribbons similar to Nogi Miyu. So there's like some Nogi Miyu moments where they had light up ribbons and they made a star and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see that. Sound was amazing, very clear. Was anything like there wasn't like a live orchestra or anything like that, so it was like all pre-recorded music.
Okay.
Stage design, costumes. So there's costumes, and I know you appreciate this, Z. The costumes were the same from the Kaguya musical, so not the same as the so not the same as the Nogi Miyu costumes that we saw that we were like super geeked about.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother, so I recorded the clip of them singing Moonlight Densetsu.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother saw the clip, and my friend Wei, who was there, he was like, wow, like they said they didn't know how good the costumes were going to be. So it's so like, wow, they really look like the characters. So I think it was really cool, like seeing them in costume. And for me, it was like extra memorable because they're from a Sailor Miyu. That's what kind of like blew my mind about. It's like, this is a Sailor Miyu cast in Super Live, and that's what confused me initially.
Mm-hmm.
Too, because I was like, why are they putting a Miyu cast in a Super Live show and not using the actresses that they used from Super Live? Because remember, the Super Live cast was in New York.
Yes, they had a whole team America. Yep.
Right. So I was like very surprised, and now it makes sense because I was like, oh, they use a Miyu cast because they're acting, they're telling a story. Like they're not just singing and dancing. They're you know. So it was like, for me, it was like, okay, now it makes sense. And so for me, it was like, oh, it's so cool they put a Miyu cast in the Super Live, and I was like, oh, it's really cool they put a Miyu cast in there because they're telling a story. So it was really cool to see Riko. Sailor Moon, she really embodied the character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really cool seeing. I love the actress that plays Mercury. She just exudes Mercury. Like I couldn't take my eyes off of her. Like if Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon wasn't on stage, like I could not. I just love the way she looked.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter was really cool. Venus was really cool. But it's just like Mercury and Moon were definitely standouts for me. So it was really cool seeing the costumes. Queen Beryl looked amazing. So it was like, for me, I was like kind of like trying to like be like UZ and kind of like see like the details and the sequins and
and the petticoats and the wig style.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, seeing it. I didn't do the VIP package because, and I based my decision kind of like off of Brook Experience 2 because it was like, I think it's like they get in early, they get to see the stage and stuff like that. They get to see the cast, but you don't get to interact with them. It wasn't like a meet and greet thing where you could take pictures with
like
them.
in London,
so it's kind of like, it was kind of like a line. You get to like wave to them, but you couldn't take pictures of them or anything like that. So I forgoed the VIP package, but the stage had similar like lighting and projection on the screen, so it kind of like gave me like the Nogi Miyu vibes, where like they use the screen as kind of like the main component to kind of like bring everything together. So, and it wasn't distracting,
like it complemented and it blended in with everything else.
Yes. So the one thing I'm glad they didn't do is they didn't use a puppet Luna. So Luna was a shadow projection on the screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so it was really cool seeing. So that's to say, like, it's very integrated. It flowed very nicely. Like, there wasn't a bunch, like, the dancers weren't moving in stairs or moving things. Like, there wasn't a lot of, like, moving things that distracted me like Nogi Miyu did. Because I was like, oh, they're bringing something on the stage. But you couldn't help but, like, watch the people. And they're trying to hide behind the stairs. But, like, I see you.
If I see you peeking, get ready for your next cue.
Right. So it was really cool, and the transitions were seamless. Like, it was like, even with like the dancers on, like, you know, when they bring the dancers out and they're dancing to the music while they change costumes, it was very like quick paced. Like, it didn't take too long. So it was paced really nicely.
Nice. Okay, and then the last question, but it's one of my favorite questions since we're at this stage of kind of what happens next. So if the Mew came back to the States, what would you want to see? Like a specific storyline, for example?
If it came back to the States, I would hope that it would be a running like Broadway type series for Sarah.
Ooh.
Because I don't think because I think it's a great opportunity to introduce people to the Sailor Moon storyline through a series of musicals rather than a one-off. I think the Dark Kingdom arc has been told to death. And so I would, just like with Nogi Miyu, I hope they would continue beyond the Dark Kingdom arc. But I know that probably requires a level of casting to execute.
Yeah.
So for me, it would either be, I would like them to kind of like have an American leg tour just like they did, but kind of like over the next few years or so, where it's like they come in, they do the Dark Kingdom arc like they did with Super Live, like do Dark Kingdom arc, come back a year later, do an R arc, come back later, do an S arc, do supers, do like build up on the momentum, because we're gonna pay to see it. 3,000 people, like I think I'm reaching, but I think that every show was sold out. So I'm like, if you can get people in the seats, and if it can't be like a full Sarah Miyu, I'm okay if they did like a Super Live abbreviated version of it.
Yeah.
You know, and do it that way. Like that would be a great way to do it. If it's not in the budget, or if it's too much casting or what have you, probably kind of like a I Know Sanctuary or Chronicle type show, where like it has its own like little story, but you get the songs, you get you know, different aspects of the Miyus all encapsulated into one. So I think that would probably be something, or the Kaguya Hime, like a standalone type musical, like Kaguya Hime.
That'd be fun too.
Something like that would be a great like specific storyline to do. if they're not able to do a series. I
5
don't know how
shows.
these decisions are made, right?
Well, no pay planning. If you hear us, you're listening. Ideas have been laid out for you in case you want to do this all over again. 5 musical
Right.
run. Pull another Nelke 2014, 2018. Do 5 musicals, all in states. Don't be shy.
Right. God, I mean, we just reviewed. It feels like yesterday we just reviewed the Nogi Miyu, and it just
Literally.
came and went. Like it just like
So quickly, like, oh, I hope we get another Mew related thing at some point, and then lo and behold, it's like our answers. Our questions have been answered. So here's the hoping. Do
Right.
something else.
right. So before we close, given everything that I have kind of like laid out for you, Z, was there any other questions or anything that you wanted to ask me about the Sailor Moon Super Live?
Oh my goodness. Did you have a favorite costume, out of curiosity? Whether it's like Tuxedo Mask or the background dancers, Barrel, the Senshi, their Seifukus possibly, Sailor V, like...
So my friend Wei loved Riona Tateichi's costume, specifically the cape. That cape, like, I felt like I was watching, what was the Tuxedo Mask's actress in Nelke?
Yuga?
Yes, Yuga. Yes, Yuga. Yuga, she was waving that cape like Yuga was. I was like, it was very surreal seeing that. So I was like, oh my gosh, just like seeing Yuga like wave the cape around. So my friend Wei really liked the cape. It was like, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I liked all the Sailor Guardians costumes because they were basically like a 1-for-1 for the anime/manga. Even though they were specific to the Kaguya Hime costumes, like you could see like the minor detail changes, because in the Kaguya Hime they had the heart brooches, and they changed those out for the circle brooches, and of course Sailor Moon's costume was changed to fit the Prism Power version of Sailor Moon and not the Cosmic Heart version of Sailor Moon. So it was really cool to see them do like those little tweaks to the costumes. It was really cool seeing them like in person. So it's just like, okay, like it doesn't just look good on screen, it looks good in person too. And Queen Barrel's costume, like I was really like paying attention to Queen Barrel's costume because I wanted to see if they were doing the same thing with the Nelke, where it's like she like, because it's like it looks like her skin is exposed, but it's actually very sheer, so she can have the horns on her shoulders and stuff like that. So I was really like paying attention to that. I was trying to see what type of shoes she was wearing, because I know that in the Nelke she was wearing like these purple boots with her costume, but in this version of the show she was wearing like heels similar to Mars and Venus with the invisible strap. And it was really cool seeing a Sailor V Miyu costume, because that's never been seen before
At all. They really said, hey,
at all.
by
Yeah,
the
so it was
way.
really cool seeing. Yeah, it was really cool seeing, and her Sailor V mask were like glasses, almost similar to PGSN.
Oh, I love that. That's smart too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. It was amazing. Like, it was just like, and that's why I'm like really excited to get other people's
Same.
experience about this, because it's like I'm just one person with one perspective, and I know that Miracle and Brittany and Gage and Wade, because Wade will join us too, so he'll be able to kind of like, he calls himself an honorary Sailor Guardian because he's never really watched Sailor Moon like that. So this was like his first exposure to the story itself. He tried like reading the manga or watching the show beforehand, but how much can you watch before you go to a show? So it was a great experience for him. So this is like his first ever Sailor Moon show. So I'm really excited to have him on. He's going to Japan next week, so we'll catch him when he gets back from Japan to get his experience on what it was like coming with me. I'm really glad he shared that experience with me, and it was just like, it was amazing. It was magical.
It was magical. It's long. But I mean, that's how it genuinely all sounded. And my heart is so full, again, just hearing that you had such a wonderful experience, that you had a great time, that you were immersed in everything, and that even if it was little elements that you've seen before or heard before, like Moonlight Jutsu, for example, that it all felt brand new and magical.
Yeah.
And I've been smiling ear to ear this entire time, like, like, I'm really so happy that you got to experience this.
Right. I really wish you could have gone, because this is definitely like a Z-coded thing.
Oh yeah. I felt so
right. So I was just like, so it's like, for me, it was like I was paying extra attention, because it's just like, because it was like, for me, I was like, I'm here for Z2, like, this moment is for her and stuff like that. And I think just based off of our conversations about Miyu, I was paying attention to things I usually don't pay attention to, like costumes and stage design and
choreography,
stuff like that. And the choreographies, seeing how the stage markings work, I was like, oh, okay, so the blue X's are for Mercury and the red X's for, and it's just like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, and it's like, thank goodness. And it was like, that was like what I was telling Wei, was like, they literally only practice this stuff for months. Like, they don't take long times to rehearse.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they rehearse. So, it's like they know their marks, and they were like on it like white on rice.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the only thing that stood out to me was that, like, Mercury kind of like flubbed with her ribbon. I think it kind of like wrapped, got caught in her hair, but it was like a blink and you miss it type thing. But I think that's because I couldn't take my eyes off of her. So I think it was because I was so focused on her. I didn't I saw her do it. So it's just like, I was like, oh. Another thing that kind of stood out to me, and it was just like, a lot of people were laughing at the romance scenes.
Oh.
Which I thought was kind of odd. I was like, that kind of like threw me off, because I was like, every time they had a moment between Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask or Usagi or Mamoru, they laughed, and I was like, what is so? I don't understand why it's funny. So that kind of confused me.
That's interesting.
I honestly, for me, it was like, I wish I could rationalize as to why they found it funny, but there wasn't anything that was like, oh, they did it kind of weird, or anything like that, because we know they don't actually kiss.
No.
In the musicals, just like they don't kiss in PGSM.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it in such a way where it's like, you don't question it,
Yeah.
Like, like when it happens in PGSM, when they did like the silhouettes, stuff like that, that Miyu was, touching her cheek to what? Oh my gosh, I just totally spaced on his name. But Tuxedo, the actor that plays Tuxedo, like, it's
Joji.
Yes, Joji. Yeah, so it's just like, it's like, like there's shadows, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or the angle was far away and stuff like that. So it's just like, it wasn't. I don't know. It was just that kind of like stuck me kind of like the wrong way. And when we talked to Jay, maybe he can give me a little insight on that, because he went to Chicago show too, and so we'll see. But Yeah, that was like the only thing that kind of like just like that stood out. It was kind of like kind of made my head tilt. Like, what in the? Why are you guys laughing? Because it wasn't even like a comical moment, and there were plenty of comical moments in the show. So it was just like for me, it was just like
It just felt outplaced, like, oh.
Yeah, it kind of felt disrespectful,
Mhm.
if I'm being honest. And I think that that's probably what I felt mostly was like, oh, it's kind of disrespectful to the actors who have come a long way to perform the show, and here you are laughing at them, you know?
Yes, laughing at moments that don't feel like appropriate to laugh at, if that makes sense.
Right. And I think for me, it was like, it definitely contrasts to how Japanese audience are in comparison to American audiences.
Yeah.
So for me, and I think that that's kind of what threw me off too, because I'm so used to watching the Miyus, and the Miyus were mainly in Japan and had Japanese audiences, with the exception of, you know, the few American audience members that were able to go out to Japan to see the shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was like there was no, like, outside of a child crying, there wasn't anything extra that came from the audience. I mean, unless it was like a powerful musical number and they clapped, or something like that, or it was like the end of the show or the encore where they were clapping and singing and stuff like that. So I guess for me, that's what threw me off too. It's like, oh, this isn't like how I watched it, you know, like with Miyu audiences before, where it's just like they're respectful, they don't really do too much and stuff like that. So maybe that's what it was. But overall, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 recommend. Give it.
Yes.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would do it again.
You hear that, NLK Planning? Just saying. Just saying. Just gotta put that
Right,
out
and the
there.
tickets weren't cheap. I will pay. I will pay.
The money will be shelled out. Well, I have another little thing for anybody that is going to Anime Expo. Maybe you want a little more Sailor Moon in your life. The Super Live costumes are going to be on display. You can find more information at SailorMoonFanNetwork.com. They have a little blog that talks about this, but they're going to be at Anime Expo. They're going to be displaying specifically the 5 Inner Senshi costumes. So if you wanted to see those costumes up close, they will have a booth there. It'll be the Cyber Agent Group booth, Entertainment Hall E65. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there for anybody that maybe wanted to see the costumes or maybe get a little more new in their life when you're attending Anime Expo. But like I mentioned, you can't find all of the information on the Sailor Moon Fan Network. So shouts out to them again, because y'all really be keeping it real with the details, and it's very organized and it's greatly appreciated. Yes.
And I think that's it for now. So thank you for joining us, and look forward to more Sailor Moon the Super Live episodes from Moonlight Justice. And cut!
And cut! You make hosting or like saying all that stuff so easy. Oh my gosh, you make it seem so easy and just so fluid, and you know how to flow in the questions and stuff. Like, you make it seem so easy.
You did good.
Oh my gosh.
You did good.
I don't know. I did my
You
best.
did great. You did great. There was minimal silent moments. And I don't think there's too much to. I mean, there's not too much to edit. I don't even think there's anything to edit out now that I think about it, other than this last part.
Yeah. Unless you want to put it in the beginning for giggles. Giggles and chuckles. Little ha-ha.
Yeah, but I have to give you props because you didn't flub the intro like I normally do.
Shoot, the way I was If you could see how close I was to the laptop to make sure I was reading everything, and then like pre-reading on top of that, like, okay, these bigger words are coming up. Don't mess this up.
Oh man.
Like,
yeah, I was literally just I was like doing the intro, and I was like, now it's like our next few episodes of Moonlight Justice will be dedicated to the North American Sailor Moon Super Live Tour. And I was like, oh, Z would want all the details about the Sailor Moon Super Live Tour. So like in March 2025, the Sailor Moon Super Live. It was like there was like some Sarah Miyu moments that we had to mention, like the cast, the songs, and stuff like that. So,
oh yes, and I'm so glad that you put them there because it's just extra insight for those that maybe they saw this performance and they didn't know just how like intrinsic, for lack of a better word, it is. Like just how involved this has been.
It felt weird telling Wei all these things because he had no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, this cast, they're from Kaguya Hime, Kobito Musical. And he's like, okay. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever you say.
Whatever makes you smile more. A lot of words, and they're not connecting me.
Right.